What up, YouTube? I'm back. So I missed last week's episode. It wasn't one of my favorite episodes of the Alicization arc, except for one thing that we kind of saw Akihiko Kayaba, the creator of Sword Art Online. His memories was in robot or something like that, so that was kind of interesting. But except for that, I really wasn't that interested in last week's episode. But anyway, this week's episode I thought was a lot better, especially because of Alice, because like I've said in other reviews, she's become probably my favorite character of the show, and we got to see her in the real world. Obviously we got her floodlights in last week's episode, and they were transmitted into a body. I'm guessing a body that they made, which is kind of interesting that they were able to remake her as she looked in the underworld. So that's pretty interesting. So I'm wondering how long it took for them to create her a body. But I thought it was pretty cool to see Alice in the real world. Obviously there was a press conference and there was a lot of reporters there that were asking questions, and obviously they don't know who Alice is, they don't know who she is like we know who she is. We've been following her for like 50 plus episodes, I think, so we know how good of a person she is, and they don't know. So the question that they were asking were, it kind of made me mad a little bit, because they don't know how good of a person Alice is. And even Alice at some point was kind of mad because they asked her to basically open her head so that they could see her brain. And she's human. She's just not human created by quote unquote God. She was created by humans, but she's a human. She's a normal person in my opinion. But yeah, man, it was great to see Alice. I really like that. I really like that part of the episode, because just seeing her in a different environment. She was also wearing Kirito's high school, I think, um, um, dress or clothes. So I really like that. But yeah, man, hopefully we'll see more of Alice in the next few episodes, because she's my favorite character, man, and I'm glad that we got to see her in the real world. A little bit later in the episode, we saw that Kikuoka was quote unquote dead. That was on the news, and obviously at first I really thought that he was dead because he was shot in last week's episode, but it was just a fake death. So everyone thinks he's actually dead, but he's not, because if he was alive, everyone would have put a blame on him. So I thought that was pretty funny, because I actually thought for a moment that he died. But anyway, man, we got to see Kirito and Asuna. When they woke up, Kirito, the first thing that he said basically was to remove his memories. So that was pretty cool. And for a reason, Alice knew that Kirito was waking up. I don't know how, but it was kind of interesting. Maybe they're connected or something like that, but we'll have to see. But yeah, he basically said to remove their memories because they were there for 200 years and no human can possibly have all of these memories, because we don't live that long. The most that we can really live is in the early 100s. So yeah, man, that was crazy. But it seems like they are okay. We saw some of the memories and some of the things that happened, in the underworld. I would have liked to see a lot more, because they were there for 200 years. It seems like Asuna was a queen and maybe Kirito was the king of the underworld or something like that. But I would have liked to see a lot more of what was happening, in the underworld. Something that Kirito said is that Alice's sister actually basically froze her time so that she can wait for Alice. So that's that's amazing, but kind of crazy too. But yeah, man, I would have liked to see a lot more of what they did in these 200 years in the underworld. Maybe one day we'll get a series of what they did in these 200 years. They've probably had war. It's kind of impossible that there was peace for 200 years in the underworld, in my opinion, but we'll have to see, because I think that would be really, really interesting. Anyhow, like I said earlier in the review, Kirito said to erase his memory, but he got one of the lead scientists for the rat program basically said, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to copy your memories because they are invaluable, because a human being living for 200 years is a lot of knowledge, and that's basically what happened to Kirito. He lived for 200 years in the underworld, and that's never gonna happen in the human being history, at least for now, because right now we can live to at least the early 100s, but 200 years is a lot of time. So Kirito's memories have a lot of knowledge that normal human being can't have. So I understand why Higa decided to copy Kirito's memories, but by copying his memories, Kirito basically said that if it was only him that was going to be copied, his only goal was to protect the underworld. And the reason why he's saying that is because the underworld, the people in the underworld, they don't control their own fate. The ones that are controlling their fate is the human world. So he's basically saying that they have to protect the underworld from the humans in the real world. So that's kind of interesting. If it was Asuna and Kirito, it would have been protect the real world and the underworld, but now the priority for Kirito is to protect the underworld. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty interesting end of the Alicization arc. I can't wait to know what's coming next, because something that Kirito said at the end of the episode is that they need the help of Akihiko Kayaba, the creator of Sword Art Online. Basically, the whole virtual world as we know it was created by Akihiko Kayaba, and we all know that he was alive, at some point in last week's episode. We don't know where he is right now, but it seems like his consciousness is still there somewhere. So they'll have to find him, and it seems like the quote-unquote final showdown will begin and where it started, basically, in the first season of Sword Art Online. So I can't wait to know what's gonna happen next, because it's gonna be crazy, man. There's a lot of things happening, and it's gonna be crazy. Now, before we end this video, I just want to talk about Alice, because there's something wrong going on with her, because obviously we heard her say that she loves someone, and we all know that that's probably Kirito. But then at the end of the episode, we saw her at the event, and she was alone in that event, basically by herself, and looking at the window in the city, and she basically said that she was withering away, so that's not great to hear. It seems like she feels alone, and I feel like Kirito maybe needs to be with her a little bit more, because this is a new world for her, that's not her normal. So hopefully Kirito will get to have a time with her a little bit more, because it seems like she feels alone. So yeah, man, hopefully she'll be all right. In my opinion, she my bad, she shouldn't stay in the real world. She should go back to the underworld. That's her world. I don't think that's really healthy to stay in the human world like that, but hopefully we'll know what's gonna happen in next week's episode, because I feel really bad for Alice right now. So yeah, man, let me know what you thought about this week's episode in the comments down below, and let me know what you think is gonna happen next. I really like this episode, and hopefully next week's episode will be even better, man. So I do Sword Art Online reviews every Saturday, so subscribe for that. But I also do other anime related things like God of High School reviews on Mondays. I do One Piece reviews on Saturday nights, and then probably maybe both on Naruto Next Generation reviews on Sunday. So stay tuned for all of that. Like, comment, subscribe. It would help my channel a lot. And follow me at Anime Specialist on Twitter and Instagram, man. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Anime Specialist out. Peace.